This latest YouTube story exposes lists of council officers in collusion with the rogue landlord, Mr. Brian John Watson. They were involved supporting him on the illegal room let, which had more than 5 people, and on this for more than 23 years. They've been involved of supporting corruption, bribery, and abuse of the service user in this regard, because the named individuals are Moodien Mabay, the social worker for London Borough of Ealing; Philip Joseph, the solicitor for London Borough of Ealing; Brian John Watson, the private rogue landlord who operated without an HMO license; Yisroel Greenberg, he was involved with Kent-Payne, the program lead at the Chief Executive Office at London Borough of Ealing, were involved on the Housing Disrepair Corruption by sending text letters. And Natalie Bishop, she was involved of sending the text messages, was involved in the Housing Disrepair Corruption by bribing the tenant to drop his claim against London Borough of Ealing on the Housing Disrepair Case. Annabelle Moodien, London Borough of Ealing Data Protection Officer, been involved of subject access data corruption and falsifying data protection documentation. Justin Morley, the head of legal services, was involved in corruption. This include Care Act assessment corruption, data protection corruption, falsifying document, committed perjury, and Contempt of Court Act of 1981 and the Perjury Act 1911. Kerry Stephen, the Director of Adult Social Services for London Borough of Ealing, bribed the service user to use him as a single point of contact, has committed corruption, bribery, and abuse. He has committed other areas of fraud. This include data protection corruption. This include breaching Article 16 of the GDPR, and he breached the Data Protection Act under Section 165-173. Sharanga Majifia, the adult social care lawyer, has committed corruption, bribery, and also breached data protection legislation under 165-173, and she breached Article 16 of the GDPR by falsifying documents under the Care Act 2014. Heather Dickey, she was involved in data protection corruption, in the same offences with Majifia and Lorraine Cox and other staff members. Michelle Andikandi, the senior housing lawyer for London Borough of Ealing, been involved on the Housing Disrepair Corruption, bribery, abuse, had no decamp policy. She was involved trying to shut down the case on July the 4th, trying to bribe the service user to accept the £150 in order to shut down the case on the housing disrepair. Alison Ford, the former regulatory assistant director for London Borough of Ealing, no longer in a job, inadvertently failed to issue the RRO rent repayment order, has committed corruption in this regard, and she allowed Mr. Brian John Watson to get away scot-free on the legal room, and she ignored documentary evidence that the landlord operated without an HMO, which he had 6 private tenants at the time, during that time, for 23 years, between August the 16th, 1997 and October the 29th, 2020. Joanna Pelvez, she was involved in the scandal, failing to issue the ROO, rent repayment order. Paul Najajarek, the former chief executive officer at London Borough of Ealing, eventually failed to deal with the illegal room, failed to issue the situation from the fallout on the illegal room for 23 years. Dipi Patel, the service delivery at London Borough of Ealing, was involved in the provision of failing to deal with the illegal room. She was involved in the fallout with Alison Ford, Nasha Jarek, on the illegal room against Mr. Brian Watson. Alison Reynolds, she was involved on breaching and infringing the Data Protection Act by giving false documentation on the rent repayment order. She was involved in the fallout with Dipi Patel, Nasha Jarek, and Alison Ford. In this regard, has committed corruption and bribery. Lorraine Cox, the data protection officer, was involved of committed corruption and other offences with Annabelle Moodien, gave false documentation by relying on the documentation of Kerry Stephen letter, by giving untruthful information, by implementing inaccuracy information. Verona Maltman, the social worker for London Borough of Ealing, has committed corruption on the Care Act, breached data protection. She's not GMC registered. She has committed bribery, corruption, bribery. She has committed those criminal offences. She breached Article 16 of the GDPR and the Data Protection Act in this result. This is the name of 20 people. 19 of them are council officers. This include Rachel Thomas on the Housing Disrepair. This include Madame Madeep Marbey, Philip Joseph, Brian John Watson, Yisroel Greenberg, Kent-Payne, Natalie Bishop, Annabelle Moodien, Justin Morley, Kerry Stephen, Sharanga Majifia, Heather Dickey, Michelle Candy, Alison Ford, the former staff member at London Borough of Ealing, Joanna Pelvez, Paul Najajarek, the former chief executive, Dipi Patel, Alison Reynolds, Lorraine Cox, and Verona Maltman.